Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models. Welcome to another Learn with Gross. This one I'm playing with some electricity. Got a battery, an LED, and a box to put the battery in. Now, basically this is to figure out how to light kits and do things like that, so I'm going from the very basics. Basically, the LED has two connectors, positive and a negative. The positive one is slightly longer than the negative one. The battery has a positive and a negative side. When you short out the two, the light comes on. If you get the other way around, nothing happens at all. So you get it the right way around, you get a light. Now, obviously it's easier to do rather than having to have a battery next to an LED. These battery boxes that I've got actually take two, but if you bend up one of the contacts, you can get away with just putting one in there. Now obviously that gives a lower voltage than if you had two, but for a single LED, a single battery is actually perfectly okay. Now I've got, again, positive and a negative, red and black. Red is positive, so when you short the two of those across and the switch is on, the light comes on. Now obviously you can't hold it in place, so solder is your friend. What you need to do, I'll straighten these ends out. Basically, I need to solder the red to the positive. So I'm going to use a pair of helping hands, because funnily enough, to solder you need heat. Heat travels along metal quite well, so I don't want to boil my fingers while I'm doing this. So basically I'm going to hold the wire in one and the LED in the other, position them so they're touching, and then with a soldering iron and some solder, you always put the heat on first. So I'm going to put some heat so it's touching both the wire and the LED itself, and then add just a bit of solder and then take the heat away. And in no time at all that will be set, and that's on there nice and securely. Now I'm going to bend these legs apart a little bit so we've got some wiggle room so I can play around with it. I don't need to hold that other leg, so I can just hold that wire, get the other one done. Again, in no time at all. Now the soldered joint should be nice and shiny. If it's not a very good joint. But you can always just touch it again, and that might make it better. So, yep, the light is working. And that is good enough for now. Now it might be an idea to put some insulating tape around it, or some heat shrink wrap, just to hold it securely and stop it shorting out against each other, but for the purposes of this I'm not going to bother with any of that. Right, I'm going to get the soldering iron put away because I don't need that anymore for now, and then show you what I'm going to do with the next bit. Right, next up, things are going to get a little bit messy, so I've got some gloves on and then we should be ready to go. What I'm going to be using is fluff. It's like teddy bear stuffing, which is basically a fine, it's like cotton wool, but actually finer than cotton wool, and you can just pull off bits and use little bits if you need to. So what I'm going to be doing is basically building this up around the bulb to make it look like an explosion. Now if you don't do anything with it, then it comes out and looks a bit like an explosion, but not much. So what we really need to do is add some colour. Now my thought is an explosion is going to be perhaps bright white in the middle, and then some yellow, and then some red, and maybe black and smoke and edge around the edge. But I'm going to start with just a bit of basically pure white that I'm just going to put around the bulb, just as an inner sort of core. And then I'll need a bigger bit that is going to be in yellow, perhaps even bigger than that. I've got to go round this Now the way I'm going to do this is basically just by using some yellow paint, and if I put a couple of drops into the yellow, into the stuffing, and then I can just mould it, stretch it, play with it. This is why it's getting messy. And just by separating and reforming it and moving it around, the yellow starts to cover all of it, and then you get a ball of yellow. Doesn't matter if you don't get all of it, as the explosions aren't uniform, so you might get some darker patches and some narrower patches. So what I'm going to do with this, don't really need to worry till it dries or anything like that, just spreading it out into a sort of thin sheet, and then that I'm going to wrap around the white without squashing it too much. And that should just give us, again if I turn it on, a yellow glow with some white sort of edges to it for that. And then I'm just going to clean these gloves off, a bit of paper, just get rid of the worst of it. Again, it doesn't matter if it blends in a little bit. I'm going to be doing the rest of it in red. So again, same thing again, a couple of dots of red, hardly any at all really, just 3 or 4 dots, and then just smearing it around. As I say, it doesn't matter if you miss spots and get some darker patches. And then when that's pretty much covered, probably a bit darker red really, that's more of a pink, but as an initial try and test piece, that'll do. I'm going to get that, again covering what we've already done. And hopefully that gives a better effect of an explosion if the bulb was closer to the middle. It's a bit too round, so I do need some sort of bits coming off of it and bits here and there. But that, again, don't know if it comes out very well on the camera, but it gives just a touch of more realism to an explosion than it just being all white. You can see the colours through it. I probably do need to add some more white to the outside and perhaps some darkened smoke patches, but when you look at pictures of explosions, they're all different. There's no set anything, depending on where this is going to be used. If it's, you know, in space, obviously it would be completely different and more rounded. If it's on Earth, it would have more of a sort of a gravity plume to it. But all in all, that's basically what I'm trying to go for. Now, hopefully, because that's still very soft and pliable, the intention is to use some hairspray. Now, if I just spray this lightly, in theory, that should give us just that bit of set, because hairspray is basically glue in an aerosol. I don't really want it all over my mat. I should have thought about that before I do this. Should have put some paper down. Note to yourselves, if you're doing this, put some paper down. So that, once that's set, it should be a harder, more solid ball. Again, might have been an idea to do individual layers of it to get things sitting in the right places, but as ever, this is just a test, just to try and get things figured out and make it look right. probably leave that alone until it sets. But yeah, I'll see how that looks when that sets, if I need to add any more to the outside, or I think I'll put some more white around the outside once that's set on. So I'll leave that to set for a bit and then come back and update you. Right, I've got some more white just to add around. Just sort of muffle it a little bit more. Again, I would ordinarily probably go all the way around it, but if this is going to be sitting on something as an explosion, then say the fluffy smoke may well rise to the top, and then we have it like that. Let me turn the main lights down, and that, not very convincing, but it doesn't come out very well on the camera because it obviously focuses on the light. Let's see if I can fix the brightness somewhere else, and then yeah, that's actually not bad. It's not terribly believable, but on a perhaps less of it and slightly smaller scale for one of my explosions, you get away with that a little bit better than just lighting nothing. And with a little bit of practice and a little bit of sculpting and knowing what you're doing, that's actually not too bad at all. Right, as ever, I hope you've learned something from this. I'm pretty sure I have, and the next time will probably be a bit better. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it watching, and so pick up a little something, even if it's just not burning yourself with a soldering iron. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the channel, and like the channel, subscribe, follow for more, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.